da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Just what John Williams had in mind.
Hey, it's the Watchlist.
Episode 3. Or number 3, whatever.
Number 3. It's
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
As you can tell from Dan's harmonious harmonizing.
Boom, bum, ba-dum, bum, da-da-da-da-da-da. Bum, ba-da-da-bum, ba-da-da-bum, ba-da-da-bum. No.
Oh, I was waiting for the drop. A question has plagued man for millennia.
Ooh, what question?
Is there such a thing as too much dinosaur?
Too much dinosaur.
Jurassic World sets to answer that question once and for all. And the answer for me is, kind of?
Man, possibly.
Like, I love Jurassic Park, and I can enjoy The Lost World minus the girl doing gymnastics on a raptor.
Right.
And Jurassic Park 3, it's alright. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it's pretty forgettable.
I don't really like,
There was...
It's not memorable.
Although,
it's not as memorable.
If I was going to say, compare any movie, previous Jurassic Park movie or Jurassic World to any of those, I would say Jurassic World's kind of a mix of Jurassic Park 1 and 3.
Yeah, I can see that.
There are elements of both in there. Not many of the Lost World. Maybe a couple, but obviously the theme park is there, and then you have giant dinosaurs fighting.
Right.
And this movie, it's kind of like one of those things where I got kind of exhausted by the end of the movie, and then like my legs started just like hurting and cramping up, like as almost as if like, hey, let's get out of this theater. And walk
why are we
around.
still running? I think the runtime could have been a little shorter.
Yeah.
For what the movie was, it didn't need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
There was a lot of gratuitous CGI, like in the scenes where dinosaurs are running amok. There is a lot of just kind of extra shit of just more random people being harassed or things happening, and it's just kind of like one of those things like sure, it's kind of titillating at the moment, but it doesn't really add anything to the whole experience.
Right. It's just I think they were trying. What they wanted is they wanted people to be like, we've done dinosaurs. Here's a lot of dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because that was my problem with like Jurassic Park 1 was great because it was like, we got fucking dinosaurs. You know what I mean? But more realistic dinosaurs than we've ever seen on the big screen. You know what I mean?
The dinosaurs were held back until the most important moments.
Right.
There wasn't just like dinosaurs everywhere you go.
Right.
And this movie kind of started that way. Like, they held back dinosaurs pretty well. But unlike Jurassic Park 1, when they opened the floodgates here, they literally opened the floodgates, and there's just nothing but dinosaurs in every frame from then on out.
Right. And it's just, it's... I understand why. They're like, this needs to be a big budget, like, we're going to throw money at this, and it's going to make us money. And I'm sure it's definitely going to make them money.
God damn it, we want $200 million worth of dinosaur.
Right, and that's exactly what they did. And, it's not a bad movie. It's just not... It doesn't give me the feeling I was hoping it was going to give me.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't give you a fluffy nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
There are a few moments that, it does, kind of resonate and feel like a Jurassic Park movie. But there are a lot that it just kind of feels like somebody trying to not imitate, but like just so it doesn't feel like Spielberg and Michael Crichton working together on a story. It doesn't have that same feel. There's less restraint. There's less kind of just wonder. Like, and part of that is part of the plot of the movie too, is that people are no longer thrilled by dinosaurs. Like, dinosaurs have become so boring that teenage boys would rather make eyes at girls in line or to be on their cell phone than looking at a dinosaur standing right next to them. Right,
and I love how like they're like it'll be it's like business sponsored dinosaurs. Like Verizon Wireless presents
Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex, like. And I love Chris Pratt's character. I can't even think of his name now. That's how he's a great character, but I can't remember his name.
Was Owen Grady?
Owen, that was his name, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you just cut out the middleman and just make it Verizon Wireless Saurus.
Yeah, no, that was the other dude. That was the dude in the control room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The awkward guy.
I wish I could remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen him in, I've loved him in.
Yeah.
He's on New Girl. He's in this movie, and like every other movie I've seen him in, I've loved the character he plays.
Yeah, he's like, why don't we just name it Verizon Saurus or Dorito Don?
Yeah, Dorito Don. Yeah, that was the other one. And it's just like he's obviously the comic relief of the movie, but he works it really well.
Yeah, he's also kind of the guy that cuts through the bullshit a lot of the time. And him and Owen, that's kind of their roles, is like cutting through the BS. And I guess to me, and this is going to sound really cruel, I could have done without the two kids.
Well, that's because we're becoming adults. You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying, in the plot in general, they don't contribute anything other than just being two more warm bodies that need to be rescued.
Well, that's like Carl in The Walking Dead TV show. You know what I mean?
I don't watch The Walking Dead.
I don't, but the first season, he was just the thing to yell Carl at. You know what I mean? And try to save. Like, that's what they are.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, there are other movies like this where they have, kids or teenagers that are active parts of the plot and actually contribute. Like, these kids don't contribute anything.
No, they don't. And it's just like, I don't know, is it, okay, we try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, and this isn't a huge deal, and I'm going to say it, I don't care. If you don't like it, skip ahead like 10 seconds. Did that whole, like, divorce thing just come out of nowhere to you, too?
No. When he said, like, last family breakfast, and she's like, why do you have to say shit like that? That's when I kind of went, they're sending them away so they don't have to be around when they do the dirty work.
Right. And I guess I didn't...
Why else would you just suddenly send them off to your sister's, workplace?
Right, but I mean, like, it was just like the way the younger brother reacted. He's like, everything was like, oh, this is awesome. Look, this is that. And they get on the monorail, and all of a sudden he's like, our parents are getting divorced.
And then he doesn't mention it again.
Yeah, like
he's never sad again.
He's like, what? No, they're not. And he's like, I Googled it. They're divorce lawyers. And he's like, we'll always be... He's like, I'm your big brother. And then it's like, cut back, and oh, more dinosaurs!
Well,
it's like...
kids have coping mechanisms.
I guess that's true. But it's just kind of like... It felt very... That scene felt very out of place.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, dinosaurs.
Right.
It's hard to be sad around dinosaurs.
I guess that's true.
Until they start trying to eat you.
Right.
But then you're not sad. You're just scared.
You're just scared shitless.
You're never sad around a dinosaur. Unless it's dying. Then it's very sad. I felt more sad about seeing a dinosaur die than any human. Mostly because the dinosaurs seem more innocent. The humans are just kind of shitbirds.
Well, that's what it is. Like, it's all the human deaths in the movie are because humans are stupid and not taking these animals that are dinosaurs in every regard, besides the fact that they genetically changes them to make them not look like dinosaurs, which I thought was a good little line in the movie.
It's kind of a fuck you to all the people who are like, why do the raptors have feathers?
Right.
They're like, because they're not real raptors.
Right.
It's like, that's why they're bigger and they don't have feathers and they have weird colors and they act like dogs.
Right.
Like, okay.
But it's just, it's kind of like, it's just, I don't know, I could have done without the kids, I'll give you that. They didn't really... They were just a thing to save.
All the time that we're with them, and we're with them basically just to have, because there are, like... Proxy is like new to the park and seeing the park for the first time. So they basically, their only point is to be a set of eyes for the audience.
Right. That's
not, somebody that works for the park in some way. So that was basically their only purpose in the movie. And then it's like, oh, they're related to the woman who's like, runs the park. And you're like, whatever. Who
they paint to be a huge bitch when you first meet her. Like,
yeah.
I didn't like her at all. Like, there was no redeeming quality to her until she started caring, and it's like the only reason you're caring is because they're in danger. Like,
yeah. Well, and the thing is, if you can tell that this wasn't something she asked for. She had these kids kind of thrust upon her by her sister, who's doing the the divorce dirty work back home, and so she's like, they're like, well, we'll have the kids come visit, and then you can take care of them. She's like, I got a really fucking busy job here. I haven't even thought about starting a family for myself, let alone watching your kids while I'm at work, too. Like, this isn't like the kind of 9-to-5 job you punch out and you go home and you barbecue it, for the weekend.
Right.
Like, from what the impression you get, the people who work there, like, she's, like, lives there. She's basically working 24 hours a day, almost.
Right.
Because there's so many things that can happen with that park. And so, I don't blame her for being like, okay, here's my assistant. She's going to, take you to all the rides and the tours and shit. I'm going to try to get all my work done, and then we'll try to have dinner tonight.
Right.
Like, maybe that's, I'm just being a little cynical, but I'm like, that seems pretty fucking normal. It's, like, pretty par for the course, especially given what her job is.
No, I understand, like, her job and her busyness. I just, the way they paint her, like, well, I mean, it's not like, I'm gonna try to do this, and I'm sorry guys, I just gotta do this. It's just like, she's not there when they get there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, she's not a hand-wringing, wishy-washy type. So,
right.
She cares, but she's not gonna be the kind that's gonna, like, fret and be like, oh no. Like, I kind of like that about her character. Her character didn't really, like, she didn't have an off button, and she was always confident in her decisions. Like, right. I like that she never questioned herself, and that she cares about her nephews, but at the same time she's got responsibilities, and it's how much difference can it be if she's sitting there with them while they're looking at dinosaurs, or the other one's on his phone just jerking around.
Right. So
I think it was just the whole principle of the thing was like, because the younger one felt like, okay, mom and dad are going to leave, one of them is going to leave us, and now our aunt can't be with us either.
Right.
So we're just being shuttled around the park to get out of people's way. So, whatever. I never blamed her or thought she was a bitch because of it, though. I just figured, like, this shit happens, and welcome to the real world, kids.
Right.
Like, I thought it was a pretty great metaphor for real life. It's like, yay, vacation! Nope, everything here still sucks.
Right.
You can't leave life behind no matter how far you go. No matter what you do, it's like, no. We're at, the greatest theme park to ever exist, and life still sucks.
Right. Life still, you can't paint over life, it's still going to suck in the background, but...
we created a crazy-ass dinosaur,
yes.
And of course everything went wrong.
Of course it did. I don't know. It's a fun movie. It's just it wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. I was hoping to like get in there and be like Jurassic Park. Oh my god. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then I realized, like, as soon as I got it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember we did this before. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Instead of like feeling like instead of inspiring the same emotions, it felt like I was just trying to copycat stuff that Jurassic Park had done before.
Right.
There were a lot of similar scenes and beats and moments. None of them were bad, but you when you have that feeling like, oh, I've seen this before, almost exactly.
Right.
You're just kind of like, oh, like there was some creative stuff. Like, we got to give it credit. It wasn't all rehashes.
No, it wasn't. Like I said, it's just...
I mean, the stuff with the raptors, all the raptors had a story arc. Like, that was incredible.
Yeah.
They introduced us to 4 individual raptor characters, and they have, like, an arc that relates to Owen and stuff, and, like, it's kind of like, okay, so these raptors got more of an arc than most of the humans in the movie did.
Right.
Then we also got to see the Mosasaurus.
Right.
Nothing that big should ever be alive. Like, nothing that eats meat that large should ever exist.
No, not at all.
It's one of the things you're like, well, and thinking back, man, maybe I guess there were bigger things in the ocean back then. But how could a predator grow that big? Like, the amount of food it would have to eat. Like, you look at like a sperm whale. It's like the biggest predator on Earth right now. Right. And that thing tangles with giant squids.
Right. Like, yeah.
Like, it eats a lot. And that mosasaur would make a sperm whale look tiny. So they have to be, and they're feeding it like great white sharks, and it looks like a fucking anchovy.
Right. Well, obviously, they say it comes up close to shore to hunt, and it would eat anything it could get its mouth on. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Foreshadowing. No spoilers, but that's foreshadowing.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of good foreshadowing. There are a lot of payoffs in this movie of things that they mentioned early on and come back to. Even little things like the Chekhov gun that is the kid's little fanny pack.
Oh, yeah.
That, it's small, but it comes back. They pointed out early on so you know he's always wearing it.
Right. Cover up your nerd bag.
Yeah.
It was like, what does he have? A fanny pack on or something? I don't understand.
It was like a nice leather one. It was like a fucking attaché case with like a belt on it. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's got like a little pimp fucking fanny pack. Like,
how does a kid that failed his driver's test, a 16-year-old and his little brother, get a 22-year-old or 23-year-old Jeep to run?
They said they helped their uncle rebuild his car, like an old Impala or some shit.
He's like, didn't you figure?
I mean, it's not like the car was taken apart. They just had to get it started again.
Right.
You know,
I'm pretty sure it looks like they just replaced the battery in it.
Yeah, they replaced the battery. They probably fueled it up because they showed there was a fuel pump in there.
Right.
So they probably just added fuel, put a new battery in there, and
it started. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like fucking Monster Garage or anything.
Right. It wasn't Pimp My Ride.
I mean, it was kind of Monster Garage later.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. No, I was fine with that part. I mean, I helped my dad work on cars when I was a kid, so I mean, I know how to get a car started if it's been sitting around for a while.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of general knowledge I can accept. The fact that he managed to drive the thing that was a stick all the way back to safety.
I was gonna say, it was like, yeah, he drove that. It was a stick. They pointed out that it was a stick. Like, they didn't have to point out that it was a stick, but they did. Like.
Hey, no, remember, because there was a stick in Jurassic Park when the T-Rex was chasing him,
right.
And Malcolm went back and hit the fucking shifter.
Right.
So, I mean, it's the same kind of fucking Jeep. So I like that. That was these little callbacks. Like, everything is still in the same world, like, same universe.
Well, they go through those doors. Like, you see the doors, I'm like, really? They're going in here? And you see, like, the banner. Like, he makes a torch out of the banner that falls in front of the T-Rex in the first movie. Like,
a little bit of metaphor right there.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. And then when they first get to the place and he's going through, like, all the genomes and stuff, and then the DNA, this little DNA strain guy pops up and starts talking to him. I'm like, that was kind of funny. And like, there are a few callbacks to the original, movie.
Well, the one dude, awkward guy, is wearing a Jurassic Park T-shirt,
right?
And she's like, "Isn't that in poor taste?" Mm-hmm. He's like, I guess. I mean, yes, some people died, but that park was legit."
Right? Yeah. He's like, where did you get that shirt? He's like, oh, I bought it on eBay, $150. Mint ones go for $300, but I thought this was a steal. And she's like, no, why are you wearing that in here? He's like, oh yeah, I know. It was a tragedy and people died, but and I thought that was really kind of funny. He's like, that's in poor taste. Don't wear it here again. Okay, well.
And sure enough, he gets to go through his own version of it.
Right.
So, I guess it was only appropriate he was wearing that shirt. And there were people in the theater wearing that shirt too.
There were.
So
it was funny to watch people walking up the stairs and they're wearing Jurassic Park shirts, which is funny to me. But at the same time, like, I do the same thing when I go see Star Wars. I wear my Star Wars shirts. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't own a Star Wars shirt.
I am the proud owner of I think like 5 or 6 now.
I think when we went to go see the Avengers, I wore a Batman shirt. I'm contrarian. And when we go see the next Batman movie, I'll wear a Captain America shirt.
There you go.
So whatever. But my favorite part of the movie was definitely Chris Pratt. His character Owen was just, every scene he was in, he just lit up.
Right.
Like, that's why I'm like, man, get rid of the kids. We could have had more of Owen, like more of his stuff. Just more of him working with the Raptors, and everything he did was just so cool in the movie. And I liked it too because he wasn't like a superhero. Like, all the stuff he did was very much kind of like stuff that he had been trained to do or had just learned through repetitive trial,
right. Oh, she's like, can't you track their scent or find their footprints or track them or something? He's like, lady, I'm not a Mohican. I was in the Navy. Like,
I'm from the Navy, not the Navajo.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, the Navajo. Forever characterized as just, being basically trackers and nothing else.
Right.
And, what was it, code breakers, right? They had, like, the unbreakable code.
Was that the Navajo language? I can't remember. In Code Breaker. And Wind Whisperer, Wind Talker, that's what it was
Wind
called.
Talker. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Anyway, off topic. Although this movie could have used some Nicolas Cage.
It could have. It'd been interesting.
There wasn't really like a Jeff Goldblum style type character in this movie.
I think it would have been interesting to see if we could cast Nicolas Cage in any role in this movie, who would it have been? And I think this is a feature we should put into every single one of the watch lists.
See, I think we should have. I think you'd cast Nicolas Cage as one of the ride operators, like the put upon ride operators are like, Enjoy your ride.
I think I would have liked to see him as the park owner.
Oh, really?
And chopper pilot.
Yeah.
I think he could have gone up and over the top with it.
That guy was already kind of like an Indian Nicolas Cage.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit. But
I liked him.
He was a good character.
It was a kind of a breath of fresh air because he was a bit of a mix of John Hammond and Ian Malcolm. Like,
right.
He kind of had like both of those streaks in him that he was very much, he wanted this park not for the money, but so that people could enjoy the dinosaurs, and like he had carried on John Hammond's dying wish. But he also kind of had that Ian Malcolm over the top flair to him,
right?
And a bit of enough cynicism so that he wasn't completely deluded about what was happening,
right?
And then he, things happened. Turns out he might have gotten a little runaround from people that were working for him, and not exactly gotten what he had asked for,
right?
Which, of course, is Indominus Rex, the villain of the movie. There aren't really any human villains. There's humans that are at odds with each other and have their own agendas, but I wouldn't really classify any of them as villains, even though Wilson Fisk was in the movie.
Yeah, he wasn't really... I mean, he wasn't really a villain, but he was just doing his job, you know what I mean? Like
he was just kind of an antagonist to our people because he wants to use the dinosaurs. He wants dinosaurs to become soldiers, basically.
Right.
And
he wants them to breed and genetically modify and make things that they can be used in military use.
And Owen and the others are like, that seems like the worst idea ever.
They're animals. You can't control them. You'll never control them.
Yeah, and of course he's like, well, we control dogs. We'll just keep breeding the obedient strains. And Owen kind of looks at him like, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, do you? But... yeah, I guess it sounds like a really kind of like... I think it's because the nostalgia and the Jurassic Park name that we're criticizing the movie so heavily. I was entertained throughout the movie. Like, it wasn't like, boring. It didn't make me like turn away. Like, I was into it. And there were a few moments that actually that did get me excited and got me going. And it just kind of felt like there was almost just too much going on. Too much action, too many dinosaurs. I
kept waiting, like, don't get me wrong, it's a nice movie, but I just kept waiting for that moment where I went, oh yeah, this is Jurassic Park. And it never came. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like, it's a Jurassic Park movie, it's a new Jurassic Park movie, we're gonna get Jurassic Park back. And it was like, dinosaurs, we got dinosaurs, now make me feel the same way I felt the first time I watched Jurassic Park. And I never got that. And I think that's what I'm trying to convey, It's still not a bad movie, it's still a fun movie, it's got its merits. It's just not... It's not a perfect 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there was a couple of moments that were legitimately more scary than any others in any other Jurassic Park movie.
Right.
The night fight with the Mercs and the Indominus and the Raptors.
Yeah.
Having all the different body cams, like with night vision.
That was crazy.
And then just kind of seeing all the stuff happening from different perspectives. You're like... Even on the same screen where they just have like a bunch of shit going on.
Right.
And like one panel's a guy's face screaming, another one's like... something else, and you're like, holy shit!
Like, that went
this is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that went a little south.
So, I mean, there was some good stuff. I thought the Indominus Rex, for all the people who were criticizing, brand new dinosaur, I kind of dug it. Because it felt like, you kind of have to keep stepping up. In the first movie, you had a T-Rex and the Raptors kind of taking turns as, being the antagonist to our humans. Whoever was the closest to the humans was trying to eat them, basically.
Right.
And then that kind of, you bring that up another level in The Lost World when then you bring a dinosaur to California.
To mainland, yeah.
Then, you have the Spinosaurus in 3. So, I mean, this one, the Indominus did feel like it was actually another step up because instead of it just being bigger, it was also much smarter.
It was much smarter, and you never knew what it was going to be able to do next. Like, it's like, it can do this. It can also do this.
So many fucking genes into that thing. It's like it was like a fucking Dragon Ball Z character.
Right.
It just kept leveling up and unlocking new abilities.
You have not seen my final form yet.
Yeah, seriously. You might as well just call it like Indominus Saiyan.
Right.
Saiyan Rex.
It was just... I was waiting for, like, the last, like, it's like, it can also spit, oh, God.
Or it's like when you're leveling up a Pokemon, you lose a new ability. At first it had Slash, then it had Camouflage,
right.
And then it's like, it has all these different things, and you're just like, what the... Damn it, this dinosaur's too smart, and it has too many fucking, like, natural abilities.
Right.
But then, of course, they actually explain why. Like,
right.
We gave it this genes
right.
to make it so that it could survive the climate, But as a
also,
byproduct,
right.
it has now it can
camouflage itself.
It can do shit like this, yeah. So again, like in the first movie when they said we gave it frog DNA to fill in the gaps, they Henry Wu's in this movie again, wearing a black turtleneck and being much more menacing and kind of like he was kind of like the slimy villain almost.
Yeah, kind of.
Like it's weird. He was like this nice doctor guy in the first movie. He's gone after the first 30 minutes. In this movie, he's like the guy's like sitting in his like little office with like his hands like his fingers steepled, and he's got his
Mr. Burns.
He's got his little tea set, and he says like, "I gave you exactly what you asked for. You wanted a cooler dinosaur."
And it's like, I believe "cool" was the word you used.
So
he's like, I didn't want a monster, and he's like, what did you expect? And I felt for him. Like, he's like, I didn't want a monster, and it's like, what do you mean you didn't want a monster? You want to give you something that was scarier than a T-Rex? Like, what were you expecting?
I was only expecting him to like lean forward and be like, "Man is the real monster,"
right?
But they didn't. They didn't go that far. That's I would have written that line and it would have gotten fucking cut out of the script.
Right.
But I still would have wrote it.
It's possible that line was in the script at some point and they decided to cut it.
You have to write that line. I didn't want a monster. Man is the real monster here. Sips his tea. But yeah, he explained none of the dinosaurs in the park, like we said, are what real dinosaurs look like because we've had to splice so many things in there to complete the sequencing, and so that they'll survive.
Right.
In this modern climate with these plants and everything else.
Right.
All the whatever in the air, because they wouldn't be able to survive without having the right conditions from their time.
Right.
So I like the way you explained that. And then it's like this Indominus is like you were just taking it to the next step. If I hadn't done it, somebody else would.
He's like, what are you going to do? Fire me? Someone else will step in to do exactly what you want, what I'm doing. So
it was interesting. Because like I said, no real villains. Just a lot of interpersonal conflicts that get played out on a grander stage with dinosaurs.
And people that are trying to use dinosaurs for something they should never use them for.
Yeah,
you know
whether it's as a fucking thrill ride attraction or a money making machine, a sponsorship,
right.
A sponsored, whatever thing.
A
military application or a science experiment.
Right.
Like, every group misused these creatures in a different way, and it led to, this environment where everything goes wrong.
Right.
And then the dinosaurs literally fight back, and then you're like, well, that's not what I designed you to do. Well, that's what but it's what it's going to do. It's an animal. It has needs. It has desires.
Yeah.
It has emotions.
And Owen says that in the movie, like it's in the trailer even. It's like, they know they have to hunt, they have to eat, they have to.
Yeah.
You've got to understand one of those things,
Well, and when he's talking about Indominus, he's saying, this is a thing that's never existed before. It doesn't know what it is. It's trying to find out, and it's killing people to find out where it sits on the food chain.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're gonna like the answer when it figures it out.
So you raised it in captivity. Its only friend is the crane that you feed it with. Like,
yeah, and it was interesting that he brought in that kind of sense of psychology. Because in the first movie they didn't really do that. Dinosaurs were just running amok. No one had time to really analyze it. Right. But because of what he's doing with the raptors, psychology is like the biggest thing. Like he understands how they think, a little bit, enough to be able to stand in front of them without getting attacked. Right. That he knows, how to at least interact with them and what they're thinking and how best to present himself as their alpha, which is something completely insane, but I love it still. Right. I just kind of wish the whole movie was just him and his 4 raptors just cruising around the park.
I think that they could have made
solving mysteries.
A movie just about that. Like, it's like, here's Owen. He trains these raptors. Yeah. T-Rex gets loose. Now he's going to send these raptors to take down this T-Rex. And we don't need kids in it. We have enough people in the park to be like, oh, they're the people we need to save. No,
man. Screw that. This is Owen, and these are his raptors. And the president's daughter's been kidnapped! It's up to Owen, and Blue, and Delta, and Charlie, and Echo. The four raptors.
Charlie, Echo.
To save the president's daughter and stop the terrorists. Boom! You like $1 billion. That movie would make all the money.
That would make all the money.
Chris Pratt and 4 raptors, fucking like parachuting out of a plane into like in the middle of the night down to like some compound.
All 4 raptors are mocapped by
Andy Serkis.
By Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Well, no. You have one by Andy Serkis and one by Ray Park, and
there you go. Yeah,
you gotta get all the masters of the mocap.
Oh, the mocap in, yeah.
So, yeah, no, that would be my spin-off. Would be, you see Owen the Raptors is like on their own like private plane flying into combat. They parachute down in.
Raptor Force 1.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my god.
Dude,
Raptor Squad.
They made Kung Fury. Someone can make Raptor Squad.
Yes. But it has to have Chris Pratt.
It does have to have Chris Pratt.
And it has to be tied into the Jurassic Park world. They have to say, theme park's gone, but we got something right here. Seriously.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's like the most ridiculous thing you can think of, but it actually is like my favorite part of the movie.
Right.
Because it's unabashedly crazy.
Right.
In the movie, they try too often to kind of like shove realism in your face a bit.
When they're all going through the jungle and you just like, the kids watch the monitor and it's like, dude, your boyfriend's a badass.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what the audience was thinking.
Pretty much.
Riding through the jungle on a motorcycle, followed by 4 raptors, hunting a fucking giant fucking dinosaur.
Yep. Just doing his job.
Just doing his job.
That's what the man gets paid to do.
So if you had to give this a rating, what would you give it?
It's a solid 3 out of 5. Like I said, I was entertained. I got done without the kids as being like our proxy.
Right.
And maybe just had to spend more time with Owen. But, the movie we got is what we got.
Right.
Definitely, kind of felt like there was almost too much dinosaur. Like, we didn't get to focus on any of them really enough. Like,
right.
There's practically no T-Rex in the movie.
Yeah, practically.
There's a lot of Raptor, which is awesome. A lot of Indominus Rex. Mosaur is there a little bit. But then it's like, okay, we had like some, Triceratops and the herbivores. They had one really nice scene with one of the, I think it was like a Diplodocus, one of the ones with the super long necks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The aviary, I couldn't fucking know without any of the flying ones. That whole sequence is so contrived.
I understand why they did it, because they had to put the people in danger, and they couldn't do it without just being like, you know what I mean? Like, the easiest way to get people in danger quick was to release all the flying dinosaurs, you know what I mean?
It also led to the only human death I was angry about, so...
Yeah, that's true, too. I was half expecting her to, show up, just soaked or something later on, but she was just gone.
There's no fucking way out of that.
Right.
It was just kind of like... And I blame the kids. I'm like, you shitty fucking kids. Look what you did.
Right.
So, yeah, 3 out of 5. It's entertaining. If you're going in looking for, something that's going to be just like Jurassic Park, you're going to come out disappointed. Right. So I tried to push that away. I was watching, I'm like, I'm going to try not to compare this to Jurassic Park every second. Right. Because I know it's not going to live up to it, because Jurassic Park is especially because of the age we were when it came out, it's so high up there in our nostalgia and just everything else. Right,
and I agree with you on everything you're saying. Like, it's 3 out of 5. If you're waiting for that same feeling you got the first time you watched the first Jurassic Park movie, it may never come.
Yeah, and they did set
everyone's different, but it may never come.
And they said that they did set up opening for us. This movie's going to probably make a lot of money, so we're probably going to get another one.
Oh, we'll definitely get another one, I'm sure. So,
but overall, Raptor
Force.
Yeah, Raptor Force coming soon. It's only disappointing, really, when you compare it to Jurassic Park. If you compare it to other big budget blockbusters, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
It's a great movie to watch on the big screen. But there's tons of CGI, but they still have a lot of practical dinosaur effects. Right. So there's actually something in the scene with people, and there are a couple of scenes, especially with the raptors, when they had the real raptor puppets interacting with the actors, that it actually really was it was all very convincing. So
they did use practical effects in this movie, and I do applaud them for that, because there's a lot of scenes where this is all CGI, but there's also things that's like, okay, cool, this is practical.
Yeah,
and that's a big thing for me.
There are a couple of big CGI scenes that I was thankful for, like when you're with the raptors when they're hunting through the forest, and the camera's kind of bobbing and weaving among them.
Right.
So you feel like you're kind of like a fifth raptor in there.
Right.
Like, that was neat.
That was cool.
But, yeah, other scenes, especially towards the climax, were almost too CGI, and you're just like, it felt like, okay, we've seen this all before.
Right.
You know, why can't we do something a little different? So, all in all, good movie, not a great movie, not Jurassic Park.
Right.
But a good blockbuster popcorn action flick.
Better than the 2 sequels.
Yeah.
Better than the Lost World, better than Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah. I mean, like a Jeff Goldblum hurts, but, you know, it's okay.
Right.
If you want an action movie that's going to give you the same kind of feelings that its predecessors did, Fury Road's still in theaters.
Yes, it is.
That one was, you know, that goes right to Mad Max and even exceeds it in places. So,
right.
You know, that just throwing that out there, still an option, still my favorite movie of the year. Jurassic World's it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And honestly, it's probably better than what anyone else would have given us, other than this director working with this script. And I think the actors really committed to their roles. Like, they weren't in there. No one was there just to get a paycheck.
Right.
Everybody had a character that had some stuff going on with each of them. They all kind of had their own beliefs and different ways they acted out.
Right.
So, if anything else, everybody was committed 100% to the project, and it made the movie as good as it's going to be.
Right.
But just nothing's ever going to replicate that first. And that's the biggest issue I think people are going to have.
Right.
Is that they want another Jurassic Park, and it's never going to happen. Jurassic Park was lightning in a bottle. This was just more dinosaur in a bottle.
Right.
Not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
I'd be a little terrified if I was on a desert island and a bottle washed up with a dinosaur in it.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
It'd be a really big bottle.
It'd be a really big bottle.
And then, of course, it would have to break on the first rock it meets, and all of a sudden you're sharing a desert island with a T-Rex. Not a great time. Make that movie. It's like Castaway, but but Wilson's a T-Rex.
Wilson!
See some fish out and start swimming. You can't swim, Wilson. You don't have arms. Wilson! Alright, on that note, we're going to go and wrap up this review.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to us. We do always appreciate it. Make sure you hit up our website, podcastofdoom.com, where you can find the main podcast. You can find links to our Twitter feeds and our iTunes subscriptions and our Podbean website. And make sure you also go there so you can now become an official Patreon of the Podcast of Doom.
Word.
Yes.
You can support us, and we will give you stuff in return for supporting us.
Yes.
We have little amounts you can donate and what your rewards would be. One of the rewards that's possible for people who donate is that you can actually suggest a topic for us or to discuss on the podcast.
Right.
So go ahead and check that out. See what you can do, what you like. But as always, we will see you in the next podcast, I guess. If you listen to our other shit, please do.
Yes, please do.
But I'm that guy Todd.
And I'm Friar Dan.
We'll see you around next time.
Yep, later guys.